Hello everyone. Did you know that there is a quest that unites thousands of the most loyal Walt Disney Animation Studios fans on the internet? We are talking about finding hidden images of Mickey Mouse that appear in every movie from the company, in the form of a cloud or a leaf on a tree. But well-hidden Easter eggs of the big-eared character are not the only thing that various Disney cartoons have in common. If you dig a little deeper, you'll realize that it seems like all the cartoons take place in the same universe. Don't believe us? Well, watch this video until the end and see for yourself. In the meantime, don't forget to subscribe to the channel to always be among the first to see the most interesting videos. Let's get it on. Zootopia. Interestingly enough, Disney seems to always be looking for original ways to add references to other movies into their works. Take for example Zootopia, a story about an alternative reality in which animals live in a fully organized society. Remember the shady Duke of Weselton? In one scene, we see him trying to sell passers-by knockoff DVDs of movies that, according to him, have not even been released in movie theaters yet. Well, the character doesn't lie about that. The movies have never really appeared on movie screens. But if you look closely, you can see that all of these covers are witty adaptations of other Disney hits. Here we can see a horse in the role of Rapunzel or two otters representing Elsa and Anna from Frozen. The Incredibles. Before DC and Marvel monopolized the world of movie superheroes, a whole generation of children was crazy about these characters. Turns out that they even watched the same cartoons we loved as children. See for yourself, this is a poster for the promo campaign of Incredibles 2. Don't you notice anything interesting? Take a closer look at the pattern on Mr. Incredible's shirt. That's right. Those are the characters from the Monsters, Inc. cartoon, Mike Wazowski and James P. Sully Sullivan. You can also see the characters of Finding Nemo on his wife's dress. The Little Mermaid. Of course, just because symbols or images of one cartoon appear in another doesn't mean that they are somehow closely connected. But this story will definitely prove that at least some of the Disney characters clearly live in the same universe. Here are shots from The Little Mermaid, which was released in the movie theaters back in 1989. We see the scene of the failed wedding of Prince Eric and Ursula, who came to him in a human form. Look at these two men among the guests. Do they remind you of anyone? The most loyal Disney fans will immediately recognize Prince Charming's father and the Grand Duke from Cinderella, the movie which had been released several decades before this film. However, this frame passes so quickly that it's almost impossible to notice it. Apparently, the creators wanted only the most attentive viewers to find this Easter egg. Lilo and Stitch. Lilo and Stitch aren't the only interesting characters in the cartoon. Take for example Lilo's older sister, Nanny. We don't know much about her, but Disney did give us a hint about her rebellious character in at least one Easter egg. Look at this poster over Nanny's bed. It's the mighty Mulan. Definitely the best person to look up to. As the story unravels, it quickly becomes clear that Lilo and Nanny's relationship is quite complicated. However, we know that their parents died long ago, after which the older sister took care of her younger sibling, and, despite all of their quarrels, loves her with her whole heart. But we found more evidence of the sacrifices Nanny had to make for the person closest to her. Take a closer look at the shelves on the right. Do you see all of these gold awards and cups and medals? Apparently, in the past, Nanny was an outstanding champion in surfing, but had to say goodbye to her sports career due to the twists of fate. You've got to admit, now this cartoon seems even more touching. Here's another interesting detail from the room of the two sisters living in the picturesque Hawaii. Obviously, Lilo couldn't afford a huge collection of toys, so she made do with having few but dearly beloved ones. Have you noticed the stuffed animal in the corner of the room? This is none other than Dumbo, the elephant from another Disney cartoon. Big Hero 6. There is one very clever Easter egg hidden in the cartoon, which was the first attempt at a collaboration between Disney and Marvel. The studio should have really awarded anyone who noticed it after watching the cartoon only once. We are talking about this scene in which the protagonist Hiro Hamada is standing against a wall with the family photos. Have you noticed anyone familiar? Yes, it's Stitch. But wait, what's that in his mouth? Turns out that the Easter egg is even more complicated than we thought. The picture shows a cat dressed up as the alien. Seems like someone had a lot of fun on Halloween. Obviously, not the fluffy model herself. It's clear from her face that she's not happy about that. Tangled. Well, if we are attentive enough to notice such masterfully hidden Easter eggs, then we shouldn't let mistakes go unnoticed either, right? Here is one funny oversight from the famous cartoon about the long-haired princess, Rapunzel. At the end of the film, the girl sees her beloved Flynn Rider chained to the ground and wounded in the stomach by the insidious villain Gothel. Before Rapunzel can sacrifice her life for a loved one, he quickly cuts off her magic hair. There is only one catch though. The shackles on Flynn's right wrist keep appearing and disappearing. It's not enough to just be incredibly attentive to see some Easter eggs. Sometimes you need to watch the movies in slow motion. This is just one of such cases. An interesting scene takes place in the Snuggly Duckling pub in the Rapunzel animated movie. Flynn Rider brings his beloved there to prove that the world is truly full of all sorts of criminals. So, in the midst of all of the madness there, no one even notices the legendary Pinocchio in a corner. He was the main character of Disney's second movie, released in 1940. Aladdin. Usually, the fathers of princesses in cartoons are overbearing and tough men who don't take kindly to any acts of disobedience from their children. But that's definitely not true when it comes to the Sultan from the movie Aladdin. He not only listens to the opinion of his beloved Jasmine, but also acts like a kid. For example, he doesn't hesitate to play with a collection of funny figures right in front of his subjects. Can you tell in just 5 seconds which toy is a reference to another Disney cartoon? Look, it's right in front of you. Prince Adam in his cursed form of the Beast. Peter Pan. In some cases, the blink and you'll miss it Easter eggs don't just connect two fantasy worlds, but also reveal previously unknown storylines. For example, after the release of the first part of The Little Mermaid, many viewers wondered what exactly had happened to Ariel's mother. Had she died a tragic death? And had people got anything to do with that, since King Triton hated them so much? The fans got the first hints when the prequel of the cartoon was released. We learned from it that many years ago, Ariel's mother Athena died at the hands of pirates. But to learn who was at fault exactly, you need to watch another Disney movie, Peter Pan. Of course, there's no scene where pirates kill Ariel's mother. However, there are two important details. First of all, there's a girl very similar to Ariel among the friends of the main character. And secondly, we know that the main villain Hook has been cruel towards these beautiful underwater creatures, so it's quite possible that Athena died at his hands. The Princess and the Frog. Remember the alligator Louie who loves jazz and plays the trumpet? Turns out that he also has a remarkable talent for parody. After all, in this scene, the character is not just fooling around, but portraying the villainess Madame Mim from the 1963 Disney animated film The Sword in the Stone. And the funny thing is, the witch who could change her appearance turned into an alligator in that old movie, though the shade was a bit different. Let's see how good you've gotten at finding Easter eggs while watching this video. Here's another scene from The Princess and the Frog. Can you figure out what the reference to another movie is? What if we slowed it down a bit? Yeah, there it is. The flying carpet from Aladdin. A New Orleans resident casually shakes it out on her balcony. We can only guess how the genie's old friend got there. Just imagine the opportunities for the sequels. The Hunchback of Notre Dame. Many early Disney movies were based on novels, and this one is no exception. Its history is connected with the great novel by Victor Hugo of the same name, but of course, they took some liberties. It even allowed some time travel. Just look at it. Belle from Beauty and the Beast is walking through the streets of 15th century Paris, but the thing is, she is from the 18th century. Although, of course, everything's possible in a world full of magic. By the way, there is another cool Easter egg in this scene as well. While Belle is enjoying her walk, a Parisian is shaking out the magic carpet from Aladdin. Seems to travel not only in space, but in time as well. Tarzan. Want to hear more crazy theories? Here's something shocking for you. Mrs. Potts, her son Chip, and other members of that family are right in the middle of the jungle. Yes, they were the ones that Jane had brought with her to the expedition. Well, the gorillas of Tarzan's pack later used the poor guys as musical instruments. And to confuse you completely, there is a theory among Disney fans that Jane is the granddaughter of Belle from Beauty and the Beast and inherited the dishes from her grandmother. The Great Mouse Detective. The Alice in Wonderland cartoon was released as far back as 1951, and there was one character in it you probably don't even remember. This is Bill the Lizard, a chimney sweep who made Alice sneeze from a cloud of dust, which then caused him to fly somewhere far away, and for a long time. We never saw this character in the cartoon ever again. But 35 years later, Disney released another movie called The Great Mouse Detective, and there we suddenly saw a character very similar to Bill. Did the lizard fly so far away that it landed in London and decided to become a henchman of the villain Ratigan out of despair? Oliver and Company. If you've watched this cartoon, you'll definitely agree that the poodle Georgette is the most annoying character there. But never mind that. We are interested in something else. When she's singing a song about how perfect she is, you can see a whole bunch of photos of other dogs behind her back. Those are apparently the beauty ideals of the narcissistic heroine. And who would have thought? There we can see Scooby-Doo and Ratigan from The Great Mouse Detective, who is actually a rat. By the way, there is a small mistake in this scene too. When Georgette falls on her bed, we can see a pink pillow next to her. Then, the angle changes and the picture of her beloved somehow appears on it. The poodle wouldn't have had the time to get the picture from the shelf herself because she was so busy singing. Hercules. Anyone who's ever watched The Lion King has shed tears at the scene of Mufasa's death, and felt hatred for his killer, the treacherous Scar who made Simba feel guilty and banished him. So, at the end of the cartoon, when the villain gets what he deserves, nobody feels sorry for him. But do you know what we found here? It seems like the brave Hercules got the skin and the mane of the traitor in the end. See the resemblance? Moana. According to the plot of this cartoon, Maui is a demigod who has many extraordinary abilities. At one point, he and Moana go to the home of a huge Tamatoa the crab to reclaim a magic hook. There, we can find an Easter egg. For a couple of moments, Maui turned into the good-natured reindeer Sven from Frozen. Well, good thing it doesn't last long. It would have been difficult for such an animal to survive in the warm climate of Polynesia. Ratatouille. Does this strange mime that Linguini and Colette meet while walking around Paris remind you of anyone? Take a good look at that long chin, sharp nose, and pale face. You are looking at the supervillain Bon Voyage from The Incredibles. Apparently, the indifference of passers-by eventually got to him, and he decided to turn to the life of crime out of desperation. The Lion King. While we were looking for Easter eggs in this legendary saga, we've learned something new about hyena physiology. Turns out that they heal incredibly quickly. See for yourself. Here, Simba is scratching one of his enemies, who's shown a few seconds later without a single scratch. Any fan of The Lion King will tell you without any hesitation that Simba's father never left him, even after his tragic death. Just remember how Mufasa came to his son at the most crucial moment. By the way, do you remember what that meeting looked like? The former king appeared in the sky in the form of a huge cloud, and it seems that there was a reason for that. The fans have a theory that after his death, Mufasa joined the heavenly deities and became the god of water and rain. It was he who allegedly caused the drought during Scar's reign, so that the lionesses would sooner or later rebel against the imposter. This is also confirmed by the fact that during the final battle of the villain and Simba, lightning lights up in the sky, and after the death of the enemy, the long-awaited rain finally falls over the savannah. Hold on a second. Do you want to see some crazy stories from real life? Nothing dull, only action, only adventures, chases and fights, love confessions and sudden betrayals. Don't believe us? Well, follow the link and see for yourselves. Our animation channel Private Diary reveals the deepest secrets. Don't forget to subscribe.